In this video, I will be showing you tips on how to get rubies more efficiently on Genius Inc games. But first, we need to go to the basics. First things first, we got the point button here, which will give you 30 points by watching an ad here. And after watching it, you will get 30 points in return. After that, the point button will not work in 5 hours until you can use it again. Next up, of course, we got the minigame. Here, you can test out your luck and hope that you will get a combination of 3 of any types of things here. After getting a combination, you can choose either to triple the amount of points you just got for that combination, or just not do it and just get the point amount you just recently got. And this minigame thing is actually luck based. Well, sort of. But there's also an option where you get points through the trade shop, where you can just earn points from just doing multiple tasks. So in here, you can do Tapjoy tasks so to get more points. Now we got that out of the way, here are some tips that I can give you on how to get rubies more efficiently. So my first tip is going to be, well, it's really obvious, isn't it? Is use the Autoclicker for the minigame, of course. As for the click interval, I highly recommend to not go a little overboard. I usually go for around 200 milliseconds, so it doesn't go too fast because it could potentially crash the device. It depends on you really. Now the real beauty of this auto clicker is that you don't really have to break your fingers on this minigame because, you know, fingers are quite important to us. If you don't really feel like watching ads on this minigame, you can just move this pointer thing to around here. So as you can see here, once you got a combination of something, I would just keep all of the pop-ups right there. I would just continue on until you reach the limit. I'm going to mention about the limit later on, but you can do this until up to around an hour, I would say, before the limit is reached. But if you want to watch ads to triple the amount of points you got from those combinations, just leave it at the middle right here. So when the pop-up actually appears, it would just keep clicking on that pop-up, and then you can just stop the auto clicker and just watch the ad that you want to watch. And then you got the amount of points you needed, click OK, and just continue on and then repeat the process. This process might look like it could be painful, but when you think about it, you can play like any games on your computer and just let the auto clicker do its job, and then you will notice that this pop-up appeared, start the auto clicker, watch an ad, get the points you needed, and then just repeat the process. Also, I just want to mention that usually one minigame session before the limit is reached, you will get 200 points in total if you didn't watch any ads, and 600 points if you did watch ads. With that out of the way, here is the second tip that what I think you should really do, and that is to determine how long you want to spend on the minigame. Now, there are 2 options that I will be providing you here. Either you want to go for 10 spins or you want to go for 50 spins. Now, here's some fun fact that I think most people wouldn't know is that the minigame will give you 50 correct combinations before hitting the limit. That includes the free spin, which you can see if it's available or not by looking at the exclamation mark on the minigame icon itself. Now, where did this 50 or 10 spins even come from? For those who didn't know, the first 10 spins will give you the upper tier of certain combinations, and the rest will be the lower tier of the combinations. I will be showing you the pictures of the upper tier and the lower tier itself, just so you can see it for yourself. But basically, the first 10 spins provides you the most amount of points that you would normally get, and then the rest of the 40 spins will not give you as much points as you would expect. Now, both of these options do have their own advantages. When it comes to doing only 10 spins on a minigame, it is better if you want to gain points for multiple games, or maybe just if you don't really want to spend that much time on the minigame, I guess. And those 10 spins would normally give you about 200 to 250 points if you watch ad, of course. And the second option is really good if you focus on that specific game itself. So if you're willing to actually get that 600 points, then you may go ahead and grind it out. But just notice that this process could take up to around 90 minutes. So it could take a while. It depends on your luck really, but it's totally up to you whether or not you want to do these options or not. Now, the third tip that I'm going to give you actually sounds a bit silly, but when it comes to getting more points or rubies more efficiently, I would say this one could be helpful, and that is setting a timer itself. Yeah, I know, you actually have to set up a timer for that. Like I said previously, the point button at the start here does have a 5-hour cooldown, so you might want to put a 5-hour timer for that one if you want to, of course. But how about the minigame? So this is how the minigame basically works. After you use your free spin, the cooldown will be started, and no matter how many correct combinations you got from the minigame, it all would be reset after 17 hours after the free spin is used. And like I said previously, one minigame session does usually usually lasts for about 90 minutes if you watch ads, so I just thought I would mention that because it might be helpful for you every time you want to do this sort of mini game and stuff. And the last tip I'm going to give you is the earning points from the thread shop like I showed you previously. Now, I would just raise my hand and just be honest. I have never completed any of these tasks and I don't really plan on doing it. But I actually watched some videos of people actually doing this sort of tasks and it seemed like it works. So I would say that this kind of offers could work, but I also see some people's feedback that some tasks not giving you points that you wanted. So it depends on if you are really willing to actually do any of these tasks. So you could put this tip into your consideration. One thing that I really want to mention though is that you need to avoid from getting points that's more than 8,500. My game usually have 7,500 to 8,500 points worth of premium choices in total, so you want to keep that in mind yourself too, unless you're planning to grind for premium choices that has multiple seasons. But again, this tip could be put into your consideration whether or not you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. If you do want to do it, then go ahead. Just remember that there are some risks of some tasks not giving you any points whatsoever. So I guess those are the tips that I can give you about the points for now. I hope this tutorial helps you on your grinding journey, and just remember, if this whole grinding saga makes you feel a bit silly, just know that you can actually buy a voice collection for actual real money. Like actual real money. Alright, that's it. Bye bye.